which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room? Like, you giving like the Any Given Sunday inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh yeah, I think we've been there. We're gonna have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like, I just don't get how he is still employed. We gotta talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Brant Nelson's getting staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Murray is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the fourth number one seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, second overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 tonight.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos stuff.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pits, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bust over to everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Twisted Tuesday has begun, as has the madness. And we had about as crazy as a finish as you can get. Grant Hill, Christian Laettner style. Hail Mary, Alabama State. Not Alabama, but I guess it's fitting. We had a football style game-winning play at the end of the basketball game and looked like it was destined for overtime. The madness has literally begun. Alabama State survived. The game was tied. It was 68-68. The ball, bounced around. There were, 4 turnovers on one play in the last, possession. It was like a street ball game. And, next basket wins. Dudes were diving all over the place. The ball was bouncing around. One team would get it. The other team would, bounce it off their leg. The other guy would, dive and, keep it in bounds. And it went back and forth. And then when it was all said and done, there was 3 seconds left in the game. And, you do that play 100 times. How many times is that going to work? Right? It was literally the kid under the basket, Alabama State. It was a great pass. He looped it. It could not have been a better pass. He didn't throw it baseball style, line drive guys often do, where it's dude, that didn't have a hope in hell. You know what I mean? Guys will throw it off in dodgeball style to just whip the ball down the court. This guy was like a quarterback. He threw this perfect bomb, and everybody when it was a straight Hail Mary. Everybody went up for it, and somehow it was a wide receiver. There was the skinny dude on Alabama State was behind everybody, and the ball just bounced to him. He put it in with 0.7 seconds left. There's the game. Wild, wild stuff. I'll tell you what, I don't think we're going to get a dramatic finish in this basketball game that's going on right now. And if we do, it's going to be because there's an epic comeback in the game. All the talk of North Carolina this, North Carolina that, you knew they were going to have a chip on their shoulder, right? And, I know the people, it's trendy and, they shouldn't have been there. Whatever, dude. They're 8-2 in their last 10 basketball games. Their only 2 losses are the Duke Blue Devils. All right, one time Cooper Flagg was there, the other time he wasn't, and they nearly beat him without him the other day. They were down by 24, and it came back. Since they changed their starting lineup, North Carolina have been a dangerous basketball team, and San Diego State are finding that out right now. It's 37-16. It's an absolute rout. We're on North Carolina. We got North Carolina minus the points. We got North Carolina money line parlays. I also have the over the game, and it's right on the number right now, 141.5. I got my concerns considering San Diego State have 16 points right now. And that's the thing with the Aztecs. They're offensively challenged, right? They have too many little forward 5-minute, runs where they don't score. And then you look up at the scoreboard and they just don't have enough points. They hit the wall in the Mountain West tournament where they dropped 52 and they got knocked out in their first game. Now they're getting absolutely lit up and smoked. And don't forget, we talked about this last night, but since 2011, 13 teams, and they started this first 4 in 2011. So since 2011 when they started this, 13 teams have gone on to win multiple games. 2 of them have gone to the Final Four. Right, VCU was a play-in team. They went to the Final Four in the first year that we had the first 4. UCLA a couple of years ago, 2021, they were in the first 4. They went to the Final Four. Hell, Fairleigh Dickinson won a couple of games after playing in the first 4. So somebody is always catapulted through this first 4. So yeah, 37-16 right now, updated in-game number. North Carolina minus 19.5. The total is 141.5. We've got a lot of games coming up. So we got college basketball going on, but more than just the NCAA tournament. We got NIT action going on right now as we speak. We're at the half in Stillwater, Wichita State, and Oklahoma State. I'm actually on the Shockers in this game, getting 7. They're getting 7.5 right now. They're down 5.5, 40-35. In-game total 157.5. Arkansas State are blasting St. Louis. I like the Billikens tonight. They're down by 13. They were down by more earlier, so they're sort of chipping away a little bit, but Arkansas State hung 50 on them in the first half, 50-37 at the break. Arkansas State are laying 12.5 right now, and Chattanooga and Middle Tennessee are getting after it. We got a good one going on there in overtime, 86-85. One thing about the NIT is, whatever, it's a lot like a bowl game in a way. Right? The NIT isn't as serious as it used to be. The NIT is like the CBI right now because Fox has this new Crown of the Court tournament where they poached all the teams that would have been going to the NIT normally. But we can get to that later. But generally with these games, they're higher scoring. Like basically the coach isn't going to start yelling at everybody about playing defense right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like they played a lot of games. The arena's half empty. You got an NCAA game going on at the same time. I'm not saying that they don't want to win, but it's bombs away. Like, these games generally are pretty fast paced. And I think we got an over in the cards coming up here tonight, actually. Like I said, we got a lot of action going on for a Tuesday night tonight. A little bit of something for everybody this evening. UC Riverside and Santa Clara, they're coming up at 11 o'clock Eastern. I like Riverside plus the 9.5, and I like the over. The over was 156. It's like up to 157.5 right now. I don't disagree with the movement. I think the game will be a track meet. Northridge are getting 7 against Stanford. We'll hit that a little bit later on. NBA basketball. Hell, load management is bad. When the great one, Michael Jordan, was just quoted as saying, they got to do something about load management. It's ruining the game. And I guess his quote was hurting the game, but ruining, hurting, whatever. Load management is a problem with the NBA. Doesn't mean that there's not a good product at times, but it's to the point right now where the LA Clippers are without their coaches tonight. You want to talk about wow. Tyronn Lue, LA Clipper head coach, has a back injury. He hurt his back the other night, and legit enough that he can't be on the court side this evening. And our main man, Jeff Van Gundy. I would have loved to see Jeff Van Gundy coach tonight. Jeff Van Gundy's like the head assistant coach with the Clippers, but he's got a family issue, and he's not there tonight. So I'm like, who's coaching the Clippers tonight anyways? Kawhi Leonard? It's James Harden? Like the players, whatever. The players generally coach themselves anyways in the NBA. So I'm like, who's coaching the team? There's Brian Shaw. They got a pretty deep coaching rotation there and bench, I got to tell you, with the Clippers. So they got the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. This game's coming up at 10:40, so I'm not going in chronological order, but it's a good one. The Cavs are laying 2.5 in this game. I'm playing the Clippers here. I'm going to get it done for the Gipper tonight. Win one for the Gipper, Tyronn Lue. Let's get it done for our coaches with the bad back and whatever Van Gundy's issues are. But all kidding aside, The Clippers, I like their lineup tonight. They're getting 2.5. Should be a fun basketball game. I think it's going to go over the number. I see a 230.5 right now for this game, so I think it's going to go over. And we're going to play the clip show here. The Bucks and the Warriors is a weird game. The Bucks are laying 2 on the road. There's no Steph Curry. Butler is playing for Golden State. You got Giannis and Lillard and stuff, but Milwaukee aren't that good. I've sort of waited for Milwaukee to flick a switch. There's no switch to flick with these guys. So, I don't really have a strong feel for this game. I would, since we're here and I'm in a betting mood tonight, let's say the Warriors plus the deuce at home here. Warriors plus 2. Like I said, I don't think the Bucks are that good. It should be noted, though, Damian Lillard is from Oakland, right? So he's always fired up when he goes back here. So the game just tipped off, actually. So slight lean to the Warriors. But like I said, it's one of those weird NBA games. But Milwaukee just aren't that good. And the Clippers are pretty good. The Clippers are a covering machine. This should be a fun game. Let's go over to 230.5, and let's take the Clippers plus 2.5. Give me the under. Let's roll.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. The Pittston players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, everybody else in between. We've got a real Twisted Tuesday going on right now. Really busy night tonight. A little bit of something for everybody, and we have dipped into everything that is going on this evening. The Vancouver Canucks just did something they don't do very often, actually. They scored a goal in transition. They're not good. Like, they don't create plays like, with speed, flash, or anything like that. They always set up and, and they try to cycle it and tee up a one-timer. They finally just sort of flew down the ice and teed one up, and boom. They beat Hellebuck 1-0 for the Vancouver Canucks early right now. 14 minutes left, and in fact, the total was 5.5 in this game. Let's see if they've popped it to 6.5, and they have not. It remains 5.5 right now. We got basketball in the NBA going on. The Warriors, we jumped in on the Warriors. We told you I don't think the Bucks are that good, even though the Warriors don't have Steph Curry tonight. Warriors are actually up 12-3 right now. And we got the Cavs and the Clippers coming up, which is a big-time game. We got college basketball. We'll break down the tournament, tomorrow's games. I don't know if there's going to be much to break down with tonight's game, despite, maybe, the in-game total, or North Carolina are just murdering them, and they just hit another 3 at the buzzer, actually, to end out the first half. San Diego State, wrong place, wrong time for the Aztecs tonight. North Carolina are good, and everybody's like this and that. They don't belong in the tournament. I'm not saying that the other teams didn't belong in the tournament instead of them, but you criticize these guys for 48 hours. You want to file lawsuits. You talk about how bad they are. And, oh, yeah, they're up by 24 right now at the half. It's 47-23. They could not be murdering them by any more than they are. In-game total is 144.5. The Tar Heels are now laying minus 23.5 in this game. Let's bring in Cam Stewart. And as you can see, Cam, I'm wearing Carolina blue. It's actually Vancouver Canucks. It's actually a Vancouver Canuck hoodie, but it's a combination tonight. I got the Canucks and I got North Carolina, so I figured it was a good fit.
I got to tell you, Gabe, great start for Vancouver.
I didn't plan it, I just sort of, I grabbed it off the rack.
Oh, yeah, no. Like
I should say floor. Like I'm like Mo Sislak. I got a hot dinner tonight, hot date. He's like, on the lie detector. All right, I'm going to be home alone ordering food in. All right, I'm going to be alone looking at the Victoria's Secret catalog and the Sears catalog.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, no, that was the best.
Then he goes, I don't deserve this treatment.
It was amazing.
But
that was great.
I just grabbed it. But North Carolina, like I said, Cam, you want, if a team, all people talked about is how bad they are for the last 48 hours. These kids, they were going to be ready to like destroy San Diego State, and they are. I feel bad for San Diego State. Like whoever was in this spot was going to be in a bad spot tonight.
I didn't take them pregame, but I took like 14.5 in-game live, and I feel like a stooge. Like they're going to lose this game by 40. Like I didn't think it could get this bad, but you bring up the most point. Like don't poke the bear. Don't poke a team with pedigree. Like the North Carolina Tar Heels are sick, and you said it, for 48 hours. Think about this, too, the emotional, the history of that school, the players that they've had in that school, hearing this crap, you guys suck. And I'll tell you, the Mountain West has had a tragic tournament. Doesn't matter if it's in the play-in game or whatever. We always see these guys fall short, and the Aztecs are just getting smoked right now. You said it, wrong place, wrong time, and North Carolina's angry, and they're not letting up. They're putting their foot down.
One thing with North Carolina, though, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. Their only 2 losses are to the Duke Blue Devils. And both, they hung with Duke. They nearly beat them the other day without Cooper Flagg. So, yeah, they lost the games, but they've won. Like, they're beating everybody else. And I don't think this is a great San Diego State team either. They had that great run a couple of years ago. It's pretty crazy. We're talking about teams that have played a national championship in the last couple of years going head-to-head in a play-in game, Cam, but this wasn't a great San Diego State team this year in the Mountain West. We follow the Mountain West pretty closely on the show. They've struggled all year, right? I mean, look, the San Jose State games, both of them. I bet them on both those games. They came back and won, but they were big favorites. Like, they're not as good as Colorado State. They're not as good as New Mexico are right now. There's a reason why they got bounced in the first round of the Mountain West tournament. And in fact, I'm not going to say they're lucky to be there, Cam, but once again, like, this is another thing. People cry like West Virginia this. I'm sick of hearing about West Virginia and Indiana, blah, blah, blah. All you like big major programs cry you won 19 games. I'm sure you'll agree. I'd be like, screw you. Cal Irvine should be in before all of you losers. I'd be like, these guys are 26-4. They lost to UC San Diego, whatever, the other night. You want to bury them, fine, but they, that's why my pick for the NIT, I got an NIT future. The San Francisco Dons to win the NIT. Because same thing. I think the Dons, like you could argue the Dons are as good as these teams in the NCAA tournament, but they didn't make it. You don't hear them crying. But I think they can go on a deep run, actually. Irvine's in it too, though. So Irvine, San Francisco, and SMU, they're kind of the teams to beat.
You said it. Look at the Big West, right? You got some good teams there, and it's not like some joke. They're mid-tier teams. Like, look at Cal State Northridge. The Matadors are a quality team. They're playing in the NIT. They're playing tonight. Like, they're good. Like, they're
better than High Point, bro. I know High Point won their stuff, but everybody's like, oh, High Point can play with Purdue. Yeah, well, so could Cal Irvine if they were here. Exactly. So could San Francisco if they were here, but you're not. So that was sort of my point about North Carolina. I'm not saying that, these other teams, but you got an angry, like you said, you got a team with pedigree. Dude, they had the preseason player of the year. They got a bunch of 5-star blue chip recruits on the team. And they're going to be dangerous after this, too. There's always a team that goes on the run. But
the problem is, Gabe, too, the Mountain West has always been offensively challenged. They might have defense, and San Diego State, they can force turnovers, but they don't do anything with their turnovers. Watching their offense is hard. It's hard to watch. They have no penetration. They have nothing.
They're terrible in the tournament, Kim, like you said. And you know what?
It's disgusting.
Everybody has Colorado State. Colorado State knocking off who is it, Louisville. In this game. And it's hard to trust any of these Mountain West teams, to be honest. Even like New Mexico's another one. They don't get a lot of respect. So it's like one of those Colorado State and Memphis. Sorry. Everybody's on Colorado State to beat Memphis. I got to find out about Memphis's injury situation. But who's New Mexico? Let me get the odds up here. Same thing with New Mexico. And that's another conference, though, that's not very good. The Big East. Like, it's not a coincidence they put those teams together.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
The Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not beating the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Holy. What was this? We have another, save of the week candidate, save of the year candidate here. If you're on the Canucks, who was that on the Canucks who just did this? But basically, Hellebuck was, out of the crease, and somebody on the Canucks was behind the net. And he tried to, he popped it around the net, and he tried to just pop it in. And Hellebuck, literally stuck his stick out and saved it. It's you got an open net, bro. Just because you should have shot it harder. You know what I mean? That Yeah, it hit his stick, but it still bounced into the net. Like, I can't believe you guys will see the highlight. It'll be on Twitter in a minute or two. I don't know. The NHL's pretty antiquated. They probably black it out. Not available in your location to see the highlight.
I can't get that damn Canucks game tonight. I'm pissed. That's a wicked game. Winnipeg, Vancouver, black out your area. Like, shut up. You know how much money I'm paying for
You're
your
in Toronto. What the hell do they want you to do?
Well, what do you want from me? I'm already getting scammed on 6 horse racing channels. You give me one. I got to be honest with you. I can't deal.
NHL coverage sucks, bro.
Oh,
it's terrible.
It's awful. I'm with you.
Every team has their own package. Like I talked about it. Like, I get blacked out of everybody, but for whatever reason, I get every damn Boston Bruin game. It drives me crazy.
Too.
It's like the one team, like I don't like name any other team. I'd be like, whatever. I get every Flyers game or whatever random thing. I wouldn't care, but like, it just angers me because there's a bunch of games like Montreal, Ottawa tonight, blacked out. I'm going on blackout. And it's always like, oh, look, the Bruins are on. I'm like, the one team I don't want to watch. Like, I don't want to watch the Bruins. What do I want to watch a Bruin game for?
My area too. I get Nesson. I get Bruins hockey as much as the Leafs. I'm like, I don't want Bruins hockey. Like, that's the one thing. Like, it enrages me.
Yeah, because you know why they do it? You know why they do it? Because all the other teams are like have their own packages, so they can't show the other teams essentially. And they're not dumb, Cam. They know everybody in Canada hates the Bruins.
It's true.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So they know people will watch them like, I hate these guys. So like they don't watch them. And like you'll cheer like automatically for the other team. And also the fact is too, there are a lot of Bruin fans in Canada. Other people like they are. Like there is. You know what I mean? Like the Maritimes has a ton of them.
You know how they have that progressive 50-50 jackpot in Edmonton? It's over $300K. They got a nice little thing going here. Like, I'm watching this Edmonton-Utah game. Like, it's $312,000. That's a nice 50-50. That's a lot.
Yeah, they're pretty big, these 50-50s now, because they do them online now too. They used to just be in the stadium. So now though, like if you have to be in the province though. You have to be like you can't enter the Vancouver one tonight. Like I can't enter the Leafs one, but like if you can enter from home, Cam. I've done it before. I did it here live on the show last month. I never win. I know, like, whatever. It's like buying a lottery ticket, but it angers me. I'm getting tired of losing these 50-50s. And I find it a pain in the ass.
50-50. Like, what are the odds?
Or like I said, like, you know how many times I've been like all lit up in a game and I buy like this big ticket and I throw it out. I don't even remember. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Did I win? I don't even know. Like, then you go to the website and it's like a postal code, like zip, like it's 10 numbers. I'm like, make it easier to figure out who the winner is, all right? They should do it by ticket. Should be like, I was in seat 104, seat 18, I won. Instead of this, like, but they sell multiple of them. But tonight happens to be it's the Vancouver telethon night tonight. I gave $500 to this live on the air a couple of years ago. I'm not giving $500 tonight. I'm telling you that right now.
No, you've done your service. I remember that game you sent me to me and Kurtz. We saw Montreal on New York Islanders. Same thing. I bought $40 US of 50-50. I got the thing. It's longer than a car. And I'm looking at on the website. I'm like, you're giving me a headache, man. There was like 26 digits. I'm like,
it's not easy to figure out if you won.
Exactly. It was ridiculous.
No, I tapped out. I gave $100 to their to the wildfire and their hospital fund like last month as well. So I'm a little, I'm gonna be real too. Like maybe if they won more and they covered like more, like the Canucks have upset me. Like I was in a good mood the night I did it. I won a lot of money on the game. I think I won like 2 dimes on the Canucks, and they were winning all the time 2 years ago or last year, whatever. Now they're not, so their charity takes a little bit of a hit. It's a cold world. But there's some big charity blitz going on here now. Like I just gave in a grocery store, like everywhere I turn, people are like, hey, you want to give to the hospital? So it's like, what are you going to do, say no? So we'll see. Maybe if the Canucks come through here tonight. They do send you stuff, though, Cam. I got the autograph Roberto Luongo stuff and the Sedin. Remember they sent me the autograph Kevin Bieksa frame picture?
Nice.
So they do send you stuff if you donate money, too, tonight. You can, like, buy the jerseys that they're wearing tonight and stuff like that.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So the Winnipeg Jets have just scored. This is SportsRage, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. 1-1, Winnipeg and Vancouver. Very big game for both teams, actually. Winnipeg's trying to nail down like the top spot, and Vancouver are fighting for their playoff lives on a game-by-game basis, and they will be for the rest of the season right now. Vancouver, it's funny, earlier in the year we talked about how Vancouver never scored the first goal. It was like an epidemic problem for them, was free money. Like the other team always scored first. That's not the case anymore. Vancouver often score first, score the first goal, and then don't build on it. Dude, they've had the lead in a bunch of games like this past week where they've lost. They scored first, and then they give up the goal, and then the momentum starts to shift against them. They've got to find a way to keep the wheels going a little bit. So 1-1 there, in-game total right now. They finally put a 6.5 up, Cam, and I'm already on the under 5.5, but I don't think they're going to get to 7 here tonight. Vancouver can't score, bro. Vancouver can't score. Vancouver need to keep this game like a 2-2, 3-2 style game. They don't have the firepower, bro. They're nobody's scoring for them. Suddenly Pedersen's scoring, but now Besser hasn't done a damn thing since JT Miller's gone.
That's a great live bet, Gabe. I think we should hit it again. 6.5 is a lot. Even with Winnipeg, they don't want to get it. They want to tighten up defensively too. They're a team that's thinking about big picture.
You got Hellebuck on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on the.
All right, they just locked this too. They just locked it, and I'm watching the damn game. I think that's how ahead of the sports book. Are they about to score here? No, they just came super close. But is there a penalty coming up? Yeah, delayed penalty. I guess that's why the book shut things down. But I've noticed, even though I'm ahead of most of our guests and we watch these games, the sports book is way ahead of reality, man. Let's see if they're going to score. They're all over them right now, and they keep freezing it. All right, so I guess it's just a delayed penalty coming up. All right, speaking of delayed penalties, we put Andrew McInnes in the penalty box for delaying us tonight. McInnes. We actually have a guest. We got a bunch of guests, so all kidding aside, we don't really have a lot of time here. So how you doing, McInnes? What do you think of this Winnipeg-Vancouver game?
Yeah, guys, my apologies. Better late than never. I am on the Winnipeg Jets, a rare regulation play for me. Look, I don't take regulation much anymore. I usually take team total over or under on the opponent or totals plays overall because I just do not like risking it with the overtimes. But when it comes down to it right now, Gabe, you just hit it spot on. Pettersson starts scoring. Some of the star players start playing better. What has that done? I mean, at the end of the day, this team can't put up goals. And so I think when I look at it right now, I wanted to back a Winnipeg team that I trust to score goals here. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Looking at some of these live odds here. I mean, Edmonton absolutely smacking around this Utah team right now. I'll tell you what, guys, people always say, well, you don't want to just take a bad number. Well, I don't care if it's a bad number and a goal higher than it was prior to the pregame. I'm already on the pregame over, and if anybody else hasn't gotten in on this or not, I think over 7.5 is a good enough bet in that Utah-Edmonton game. That one just has goal fest all over it. I can't see that one slowing down.
Yeah, it's 5-0 right now, and I see it's locked up right now. One thing about Utah, and I noticed this, Cam, with Utah the other night watching them, they're a pretty chippy team. So they get mad, too. So, they're losing 5-0. I wouldn't be surprised if Utah takes a bunch of penalties. They took a bunch of penalties the other night against Vancouver that they shouldn't have. I noticed. I'm like, yeah, they just don't care. They're kind of playing on the edge. So I don't disagree. I don't really chase in-game overs too much. Got an 8.5 in the Kraken and the Blackhawks game right now. What'd you think of the Canadiens game, McInnes? There's exciting times in Montreal right now. The Bell Center is rocking.
Man, you would have thought that was a conference final game. By the way, the crowd was buzzing at the end of that game. You got to love it. The biggest thing that I like to see there is, look, Montembeau's been playing great. I usually defend him whenever he has kind of a hiccup. But let's be honest, that goal from the point there from Hamonic, who hasn't scored a goal since I was in middle school, that guy scores and they don't get deflated. They bounce back in a big way. I love to see it. That's what good teams do. The old Habs would have taken, a punch like that and just folded. I like the way they bounce back in a big way. They close the game out strong. And you know what? They might not have the flash or all the kind of crazy fancy goals, but they're getting the job done. And guys, the management said they want to be in the mix. If this team makes the playoffs or they even come close, the future is really bright for this team.
I've said it before.
So good total.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Like I said, more goals. Good call on its way there. I swear to God, we've talked about this. I brought it up last week, and somebody tweeted to me during the show and said, the Canucks have to lead the league and, hit crossbars and post. And Pettersson, I don't know what it is, with this dude. It's the third time in the last 7 days where he's rifled one, he's beaten the goalie, and it just goes off the crossbar. I'm like, dude, if you just lower your shot, bro, half an inch, bro, figure this out. Because you keep on beating the goalies and you keep on hitting the crossbar over and over. They have a power play right now. So there's under 2 minutes left. The second half has started. North Carolina is up 47-23. McInnes, have you filled a bracket out? Have you put a future bet in? We got baseball is back, too. Dodgers and Cubs in the morning. Like I said, I don't want to run you, but I think we got about 3 minutes here. So what are you looking at, McInnes? Any NCAA picks for us or Cubs-Dodgers picks? And the Canucks just score, guys, 2-1. Besser finally scores. 2-1 Nucks. There we go.
Yeah, Gabe, again, my apologies, man. You know how frustrated I get. I get. So, you know what? A couple years ago, I went to my first ever NCAA game, and it was Tennessee versus Duke. And ever since that day, I've been a Tennessee guy. I've watched a bunch of their games this year. I like how they play. I bet them today to win March Madness. So Tennessee is kind of my guys that I'm riding. And I know everybody always talks about how pretty much all the time it's top 4 teams winning it. And I get it. But at a certain degree, when you do get certain really nice numbers, you can set yourself up for a really good hedge. And there's one team on that list on the graphic on the screen right now that I do like, and that's Gonzaga, man. That number is huge. And, some people are even picking against them in round 1, but I feel like they can get some momentum. They're a pretty good ball team and very well coached. I like them. And 50-1, I mean, you get a couple wins, all of a sudden you're in hedge territory already. So, I do like that. I got a few dogs that I like. We're obviously cashing tickets tonight. We're on North Carolina. I like Xavier tomorrow minus the 2.5 against Texas. We're getting involved in all the games a little bit here. I like Creighton over Louisville. And there was one more that I liked, VCU against BYU. And I'm taking the over in the Georgia-Gonzaga game, over 150.5.
One thing with Gonzaga, they have a tough opening weekend. If they get through that tough opening weekend, suddenly, the sportsbook will pay you a nice profit even if you get through the first weekend because they're going to have to beat the Houston Cougars. They're going to get through Georgia, and then they're going to have to get the Houston Cougars, who that's going to be a tough task for them. I do think Gonzaga get past Georgia. Did you play the Dodger game today, McInnes, or are you waiting for next week for baseball? 6 a.m, too early for you?
You want to know? I'm going to tell you what, because I can't BS you, Gabe. Listen to this one. I don't know how this happened. I swear to God. And I'm only telling this because I know I looked at the under 4.5 first 5 innings, okay? Woke up like 4 or 5 innings into the game, fired up, celebrating, right? Then I checked my account. I'm like, where's the money? Why didn't it add the money? It was for tomorrow's game. I was like, how? How is that the game that showed up? So now I have an under 4.5.
That's the best.
So I've done that in the past before. That's not as bad as the dude that took Argentina. He thought he bet on Argentina to win the soccer World Cup, but he bet the World Cup of rugby by mistake. He posted it online. He's like, son of a bitch. Like, he celebrated. And he's like, he looked at his account and he's like, where's the money? And he sees he bet on Argentina in rugby, not the World Cup of soccer.
Brutal.
Brutal.
Who are your guys' teams? Who are you cheering? Who's your March Madness? I got to know who you guys.
I got Florida to win it all.
Florida. I like Florida, Cam.
I think the Houston Cougars are going to the final.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. All right, we had a mini hit with McInnes. We're running a tight ship tonight. We're jam-packed. And North Carolina's not playing around tonight. They're extending their lead right now in the second half. They're not letting up. They're not playing around tonight. 57-29 right now. Like, they've literally broken the will of the San Diego State Aztecs. There's 16 and a half left in the game. Like, it's, I guess San Diego State can pretend for the next couple of minutes, but it's going to be tough for them when they look up at the scoreboard and they see they're down by 30 plus. Here with 10 minutes left, it's hard to say, oh, we're still in it. It's like The Simpsons, right? It's still good. Nah, it's not good. Like they know it's not good. It's a rout right now. And speaking of routes, the Vancouver Canucks have just exploded. All of our talk about, thank God I didn't click that under 6.5. All the talk about, wow, they can't score this team. They just scored 3 goals in the first period. They're up 3-1 on the Winnipeg Jets, and they're like, plus 145 underdogs tonight. Every time you think the Canucks are just sort of really done, they always punch back this team. Like, that's been their MO. It's like, really, they lose a game that they should have won, and then you're like, I can't believe they beat that good team in the next game. This is what they do all the time.
Tonight. Like, Winnipeg, one thing is, Gabe, and you know the way things work with President's Trophy and wins stuff, Vancouver has to win this game. The Flames went into MSG and won. They got to keep pace. This is a huge game for the Vancouver Canucks. You're giving these guys as a pooch at that price. I'm with you, man. They just got to hold on, though. Get some goaltending and get it done. Let's go.
Yeah, and good teams, like you said, Cam, it's true. Like, if you're the Winnipeg Jets, it's hard to be on top of your game every night for 82 games, right? We've seen this with the Jets. And suddenly, quite frankly, guys, the Jets have had goal-scoring problems suddenly, too. Like, the Jets have started, they're losing a little bit now. Like, they're starting to, I don't know, it's like playoff time. They're starting to, like, become like they are in the playoffs. All right, let's bring in Sean Higgs right now. Sean, are you on San Diego State or North Carolina? This game is a rout right now, 57-30. Who are you on in this game? What do you got?
One, when you said there's a route going on, I thought that was going to be you're going to cue me up for bashing the take the Cubs over the Dodgers. I saw you went hockey though, so you weren't going to.
Oh no, we'll get to the Cubs Dodgers. Well, we'll see if you want to lose some money again betting against the Dodgers in the morning, Sean. If you we'll open up with that. Let's just do it.
I'm going to lose money.
I'll get
no Mookie Betts, and then Freddie Freeman's a last-minute scratch. Even before the game, you're like, "Oh, my rib hurts. I can't play." Without Betts and Freeman, they still win. Yamamoto's a badass. Now Sasaki makes his Major League Baseball debut in Japan, where there's a snowstorm going on right now. What's your pick, Higgs?
Cubbies again. I'll take the Cubbies. I'll get a split, and I'll make $30 on $100 there, whatever.
I'm with you, Higgs. It sounds a bad bet, but I'm there too. I'm all in.
Like I said last week, and even 2 weeks ago, it was always going to be a split. I thought, you know what, I'm going to get plus money with the dog. I'll go for the split, and I'll be happy with a split. And I was up 1-0 going into the 5th inning there. I mean, come on, a walk, error, that's the kind of crap. That's why the Cubs are the Cubs, and the Dodgers are going to win 100 games this year because they're the Cubbies. But whatever. This game here, I'll say I didn't think North Carolina should get in, right? Like everybody else. Like they shouldn't get in. But I saw this. Didn't we see this a couple years ago with Syracuse? Like they shouldn't be in a tournament, and they come in here and roll. Like North Carolina's going to be in the Sweet 16. Like, let's be honest. They're going to come in and win this game by 30. They're going to beat whoever they got up next. It's like Texas tomorrow, same kind of thing. And people are like, oh, they shouldn't. The team that should never be in that people want to rag on, and I did. I was like, Texas shouldn't be in there. North Carolina shouldn't be in there. There's better. You mentioned Riverside, right? Or Irvine. Something. Give me anybody. Give me West Virginia. Give me whoever than these two teams. But once you're in, that changes the whole aspect. And Carolina proving it today. And I think Texas does it tomorrow too against Xavier.
North Carolina, very dangerous team. I agree with you. And we've talked about it a lot, guys, about the first four. And, man, they've been doing this since 2011, guys, and we've had 13 teams win multiple games coming out of the first four. And, people, like I said, Sean, people can talk about North Carolina this and North Carolina that. But they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. Since their lineup changed, they're 8-2. Their only two losses are to Duke, and they were just too athletic for San Diego State. And like we've been talking about tonight, when everybody bashes a team and talks about how bad they are for 48 hours, you don't think it's going to motivate them to really just like they're not letting up on San Diego State right now.
No, absolutely, and that's 100% correct there. And going back to that, you look at like Louisville Louisville got what, like an 8 seed? How do they go 18-2 or 18-3 in conference? They get an 8 seed, and then that alone should have North Carolina disqualified from being even in a play-in game. But here we are. Those brackets, that's a whole nother thing, how they went through that nonsense. But whatever, the tournament has arrived, Gabe, and I loaded up 20 games on Sunday between the NIT and the NCAA, so I'm ready to go, firing away.
Did UCLA go to the Final Four as a playing team, Gabe? I think they did.
Yeah.
Final Four, right? That's it happens all the time.
In 2021.
You're hot. You get a game under your belt, too. You're coming in with a game under your belt and playing a team that hasn't played. You can jump all over them, like especially you get confidence again. So actually, the playing game, to me, is an advantage if you're one of these teams. You go in there and it's good.
And also, when you're like these teams, UCLA, North Carolina, even Syracuse, these aren't like they're teams that underachieved during the year, right? Which is where they are. But you still have like NBA type caliber players on these teams. Like, are you shocked if they get hot and play? You need 5 good games and you're in the Final Four, Sweet 16 or something.
Well, North Carolina will get Ole Miss after this. It's a perfect matchup for them. It's not like Mississippi, you know what I mean? Like Mississippi, I get it, they're an SEC team, but it's the same style. North Carolina is not going to be overwhelmed. Like we said, like teams have gone to the Final Four, to the Sweet 16. 13 teams, guys, have won multiple. It's only happened once, actually, where somebody didn't advance coming out of the first 4.
They're beating Ole Miss.
And I agree with you with Texas, too. I think that Trey Johnson is going to take over tomorrow night. Everybody seems to like Xavier in this game. I think Texas is better than people realize. Look at Texas just beat Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, and then took Tennessee to the brink, actually, playing their 3rd game in 3 days. When Texas are playing well, they can play with anybody in the country, but we'll hit this some more on the other side. We'll get Higgs' best bets. We got Rick Saratella joining us, Mo Khan. We got a tight ship. Let's roll.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, let's roll. Let's do this thing. North Carolina are rolling right now, 61-36. They're now laying 25.5. In-game total is 150.5. I got North Carolina minus the points, and I got the over in the game. I got North Carolina some money line parlays. I'm kind of worried about the over, but it's on pace right now. As long as San Diego State don't quit. But they don't really have an incentive not to quit, to be honest. That's the one thing I like about college basketball. Teams, like when they're trying to get into the tournament all year, they're not going to quit because the committee is watching every possession of every team all the time. They have no one to, like, impress anymore. Like, they're down by 30. They said there's 13 minutes left. Like, they're definitely playing for themselves right now. But the kids seem to be trying still on San Diego State, even though they're getting murdered. So, Sean, we got a couple of minutes here. Who did you bet on tomorrow? We got a couple of games once again tomorrow. We were talking about Xavier in Texas. And we get started with Mount St. Mary's and American, who knocked off Navy in their conference championship game. Now Xavier are laying 3 and American are laying 2.5. And then we're into Thursday's action. What did you bet on, Sean? What are you taking?
Haven't moved yet. I like American though tomorrow. Like American, as I mentioned, Texas there and the points. I like I got the Northern Colorado over tomorrow, so it's kind of up. I had a 149, so it's kind of up a little bit there. And then Thursday, I got a mix of dogs and favorites. I got High Point, VCU in the over. To Gonzaga, I think Gonzaga's. I got a future on Gonzaga as well too, from way back when they beat Baylor early. I'm like, you know what, these guys look good. Well, see how that goes. Who else we got? Wolford, I took the under against Tennessee. But I think like Tennessee's going to win that like 60 to like 35 or something. I think that's going to be a low-scoring game. Took Arkansas. I think Arkansas is going to give St. John's trouble next round. That'll be nice with Calipari and Patino going at it. I took Drake as a dog. Utah State. I took Michigan. I just felt everybody's going to be on San Diego, right? That is like the pick of the day. Everybody's on them, and I took a 3 too. I got a bad number. I took it right out of the gate. I'm like, I'm taking. I should have waited. I should have known better. But who else? Colorado State. I grabbed. They opened up as. How do they open as a 3.5? As a 12? Is the Memphis kid playing? That's the only reason I thought it was so high, because of him being out. And then they had been hot to Rams, but man, that's a big number for. Hello, you see the Mountain West losing by 30 tonight on TV. And
hard to trust the Mountain West team laying points.
And I took them.
It's down.
I got them all. I got New Mexico, Colorado State, Utah State, and I took North Carolina today.
I'm not a fan of riding the Mountain West party here. I got to be honest.
I like pain.
The fact
I took the fact that so I don't mind suffering. It's all right.
The fact that Colorado State are down to 2 right now leads me to believe that the Memphis injury situations are starting to clear up a little bit. I like some of the picks you were talking about there. Listen, one thing with UC San Diego, they're badass. They're the number 1 team ATS against the spread. They also don't have anyone bigger than 6'7" on the team. Michigan have 2 7-footers on the floor all the time. Like, size is going to be a big problem. But, and I don't want to do like baskets like MMA math. This guy beat that guy and stuff, but put it this way, UC San Diego played against San Diego State earlier this year, and San Diego State beat them. And look, San Diego State's getting messed up right now. Like, there's a reason why a lot of these West Coast teams like get lit up here. They haven't won. The team from the West hasn't won a championship in like over 30 years now, 29 years, whatever the hell it is.
But this is still like a new D1 school too. I mean, aren't they just like kind of new even to the Big West?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to put them down. Like they made us money this year, right? It was a good.
You know what a Triton is?
Yes,
that's
the god of Neptune with the trident. Like he's the god of the sea.
It's a no. It's a merman.
Yeah, the merman.
Instead of like a merman, it's like a merman.
Merman instead of mermaid. Yeah, but he has that thing is a Triton. Like you know what I'm talking about. Like he's a tough ruler of the sea.
There was a merman episode in Gravity Falls. I was watching my kids when they were younger.
Yeah, he does look like he's got like a white beard and like a sword. He's like a pirate type dude. Yeah, he looks like a Viking or whatever. Like their mascot.
That's the
exactly. He's Poseidon. Got to see. Did you see Aquaman with Vinny Chase? Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, the Wolverines are going to eat this pirate alive. Screw him. Screw the Triton.
Yeah, Wolverines can go. I wouldn't even mess with the Wolverine in water, let alone on land. They're mean.
It'll be
I'm calling it now. Michigan's going to beat UC San Diego, and Yale is going to beat. There's another upset. I like Yale to beat A&M.
I like.
And then it's going to set up. And then it's going to set up our boy Wolf against his former teammates at Yale. See, it's all about the storylines in the NCAA tournament. Thanks, Higgs.
Brady Kachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Kachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Kachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Tuesday continues, as does the countdown to the National Football League draft. The madness has begun, but we're now just 37 days away from the National Football League draft as well, and the sports books continue to post more and more props for the draft. Let's break it down. AllAccessFootball.com, the founder of the NFL Draft Bible, Rick Saratella, steps up and in on the Twisted Tuesday. What's going on, Rick? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Baby. Yeah, buckle up, man. I love being here each and every week. We've been doing this for years. That's what I love about Gabriel Morency. He wants to talk to me every week, not just once a year. Everybody calls me up in March and April. They just want to talk to me once a year. We're here talking draft year-round. Unbelievable. Let's get into it.
Well, the NFL is like money. It never sleeps. Let's be real. And the NFL draft stock market, as well as fluid and as volatile right now as the real stock market is, there's a lot of uncertainty out there as far as this NFL draft. But one thing that people are starting to settle in on is that, and it's been all over the place, man. Remember a couple of weeks ago, people thought Abdul Carter was going to be the number one pick in the draft. But now people are buying in that the Tennessee Titans are going to hang on to the pick, that nobody's going to get crazy with any sort of offers, and they're going to pull the trigger on Cam Ward. It's minus 500 right now, Rick, at the sports books for Cam Ward to be the number one pick in the draft.
Yeah, it appears that way, and I'd love for you to go find me the NFL Observer that believes the Tennessee Titans are going to go into the season with Will Levis as their starting quarterback again, okay? And it's getting late early. Like, you look around, there's not really a lot of options. I don't want any of these bozos that are left on the open market starting for my NFL franchise, okay? So we got to bet on the upside. I like Shedeur Sanders for whatever that's worth. The NFL seems to prefer Cam Ward. Okay, he could be a successful quarterback, but I think at this point, it all points to quarterbacks 1 and 2 off the board.
And in your latest mock draft, you do have Shedeur Sanders going to the Cleveland Browns second, right?
I do. I just think that, again, like you look around, Deshaun Watson is done. I think they already tried the Joe Flacco experiment. Russell Wilson is on the back nine. He's a backup at this point. And Aaron Rodgers ain't coming to Cleveland. So where do you turn? Well, it's Shedeur Sanders, who, from what I understand, Andrew Berry is a very big fan. The Harvard graduate is a very big fan of Shedeur Sanders, as am I. So I can see Shedeur Sanders going number 2 to Cleveland.
Shedeur has, of course, become a polarizing player. People have him all over the place when it comes to these mock drafts right now. But I'm with you. I like him. We've talked a lot about him. I think he's going to be a solid NFL quarterback. Now, this is an interesting prop right now, Rick, because I'm not so sure that we don't have some value here. First non-quarterback selected in the NFL draft. Right now, it's Abdul Carter, minus 350. Like, that's a pretty insane bet to make it minus 350. Travis Hunter is plus 275. And in your mock draft, you've got Travis Hunter going before Abdul Carter, not to mention the Abdul Carter injury situation right now that might put some teams off, not all, but some. But from a betting perspective, I think we got value here at Travis Hunter to be the first non-quarterback taken. Mason Graham is plus 1,600 to be the first non-quarterback taken. Travis Hunter is plus 275. Abdul Carter minus 350. Rick, what do you think about this prop?
Well, I think it becomes down to 2 players, Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter Jr. For me, Travis Hunter is the cleanest player in the draft. And I understand the Giants just signed Paulson Adebo, but why not turn a weakness into a strength? And why not take the best player in the NFL draft? And why not take a guy that you don't have to worry about this foot injury? This is the same foot injury Tyree Wilson had, if you remember, from the Texas Tech.
Oh, from the Raiders. That went to the Raiders. Yeah, and where's
right.
he now? I didn't like that pick at the time. Neither did you. Remember that? They overreached.
Well, they had to put a screw in the foot. And, while the doctor recommended that Abdul Carter doesn't need the screw in the foot as of now, eventually, I believe at some point, there's a very good chance he is going to have that procedure done. And so that's going to put him out for at least 2 months, rehab it back. I mean, if we're being honest, he should just get it done now. But, he's going to go into the draft, into the season without getting this procedure done. At some point, this could creep up. So if you're picking in the top 3 and you want the surest thing and the cleanest player and the best top talent, all signs would point to Travis Hunter, in my book, at least. So we'll see.
We have odds, for each position. Who's going to be the first player taken at each position? Ashton Genty is minus 1,600 at the running back spot. And there are some good running backs in the draft, and I know Hampton, people are buzzing about Hampton right now out of North Carolina, Rick, but we know Genty will be the first back taken. But offensive lineman intrigues me, and I'm curious your opinion on this. First offensive lineman drafted, Rick, Membu, minus 120. Will Campbell, plus 110. Banks Jr., plus 550. Josh Simmons, 25-1. There's no lock that Membu is going to be the first O-line man taken here, is it? What's your take on the O-line if you had to bet? Who would it be?
There's a lot of smoke in the forest fires coming out that the NFL just loves Membo after his combine performance, his 4.9 140, to be able to have that kind of athleticism. I'll be the first one to tell you.
He was the kid that blazed it on that 40, all right, when everyone was freaking out in the stadium, right? Yeah, that's right.
He blew the lid off of Lucas Oil Stadium, but you go back to the film, you don't see it on the film show up. I actually graded Membu as a guard. I think he needs to kick inside personally. Now, I actually have Tyler Booker as the top offensive lineman in this draft, who is a natural guard. He is the best offensive lineman, but guards are devalued, so he won't be the first offensive lineman off the board. It's leaning towards Membo. I think Will Campbell has a very good chance. What's funny is I think Kelvin Banks out of Texas is the best tackle in my book, but there's a lot of fluctuation, shall we say, when it comes to offensive line grades.
That's a good point, Rick. It's a great point. And also, offensive lineman really is a team preference, isn't it? Some teams will like a certain guy, some teams will like another guy. You're right. There's a lot of volatility there at that position. Listen, Banks is a badass, and you're getting plus 550.
Kelvin Banks has not missed a start at left tackle since his sophomore year of high school. That's a gamer.
All right. So first, let's talk about the defensive line now. So first defensive lineman edge player, they have the combination. First defensive lineman / edge drafted. Abdul Carter's 22-1. Now listen, Mason Graham is 11-1. Williams is 16-1. Green is 25-1. Okay, Carter's supposed to go ahead of Mason Graham, but let's just say hypothetically, teams really don't like the medical report or don't like what they're seeing. I don't think it's insane. That's, it's a flyer. It's a lottery ticket, 11-1. Rick, what do you think about the first lineman edge player taken?
Well, I think, Mason Carter's got to work out here at the Michigan Pro Day because I thought he turned
Mason
some people off. Yeah, Mason Graham turned some people off not working out at the combine. So, some people might be waiting on that Pro Day. I think Michael Williams out of Georgia might be the dark horse here because you're talking about this guy's getting compared to Trayvon Walker. He played with like a fractured ankle or a bum ankle this past year, played through it. But if you go back to his film last year, they're comparing this guy to Trayvon Walker, and I see it. I believe it. I think Michael Williams has as much upside as any edge rusher in this year's draft, even maybe more.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's
that
been to a
overtime
sporting
period
event,
against Canada, like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whoever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
The Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Tuesday continues. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. The Pips, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. We're breaking it down with Rick Saratella. Countdown to the NFL draft is on. We'll get back to the college basketball in a couple of minutes. But, Rick, looking at the, there's been so much talk about it being a weak quarterback draft, but there are some other positions. Like, it's pretty deep at the running back spot, and there's a bunch of pretty good tight ends in this draft as well. On the board right now, Tyler Warren out of Penn State, minus 700 to be the number one tight end drafted. Then my boy Colston Loveland out of Michigan, plus 550 is the next choice. Listen, Warren is a freaking stud, and One thing about Warren, Rick, soft hands for a big man, but I said it at the time. It's hard to tell, isn't it, Rick, how big somebody is when they play for Penn State because of their uniforms, right? Like they wear these black shoes and, they're so plain. It's hard to tell, like, the size. You can tell with the old linemen, you know what I mean, with the white jerseys and their stomachs and stuff, but he's like a lot bigger than I think people realize. He's a big-ass kid, but he's fast. He's got good hands. You can't say anything bad about Tyler Warren. The kid's just a baller.
Yeah, I mean, if the uniform's giving you problems, flip on the film and just watch this guy carry guys into the end zone, right? I mean, he's got guys carrying on his back. He's breaking tackles. He's taking
and get open too, and he gets open as well.
He gets open, but he's a heck of an athlete. Like, I have him going to the Saints. I think number 11 overall. I said get ready for the Warren cat because this guy takes snaps under center. He lines he lines up in the backfield.
How about this? The Tie Cat, the Tie Cat, Tyler Warren. We'll go with the Tie Cat.
Yeah, I love it. The Tie Cat with who's the other quarterback / tight end? Taysom Hill and
Taysom
Warren.
Hill there.
Yeah, because they got no quarterback, so why not throw Tyler Warren there? But listen, this Colston Loveland, this guy is a marauder. I mean, this guy, like, he gives me Heath Miller vibes. But, Gabe, like, when I compile these background and medical reports for the NFL Draft Bible, like, Colston Loveland jumped out to me because this guy, like, I have it right here in front of me. He suffered a type V AC injury. Like, go Google that. Type V AC injury in September. Underwent a labrum repair and AC joint reconstruction on January 29th. Okay, so like 6 months before the season. And he played through this. Like, he was not completely healed. And he had a season for the age. I mean, this guy, yards after catch, route running ability, hard-nosed blocker.
He was the only guy catching balls early in the season, too, when Michigan's quarterbacks were struggling as well. Like, he takes a beating. Like, he runs people over. He takes, like, he's not afraid of contact, Loveland, at all. Like, he goes down low and tries to hurt you.
Yeah, and I think what I'm trying to say here is that you haven't seen the best of Colston Loveland, and that's a scary thought. And so that's why
poor guy. He was good with J.J. McCarthy, right? When J.J. was there, and it was more of a run-heavy offense. But imagine him with, like, Justin Herbert. Right? I'm just stating. Right? You know what I mean? Or J.J. McCarthy, right? Even with the Minnesota Vikings.
Absolutely. Well, I have him going to the Chargers because in my latest mock draft that came out on allaccessfootball.com the other day, I said, what happens when best available player meets team need, meets former head coach? I mean, that's what Colston Loveland is just going to be hanging out there for Jim Harbaugh to pluck. And you go back to all the way back to San Diego when he was coaching. He's been developing tight ends at the collegiate level, at Stanford, at Michigan, even at the NFL. So Harbaugh loves him some tight ends. And after Tyler Warren, there's none better than Colston Loveland. And I will say, like, tight end arguably is the deepest position in the draft on the offensive side of the football.
One position that isn't deep, and it seems to be a forgotten position. The running back position got undervalued for a couple of years. There seems to be a premium on it a little bit once again now. But linebackers, right? You know, those star linebackers, Rick, you and I growing up, you know what I mean? It used to be that, the linebackers was one of the marquee sort of star, you know what I mean, positions, right? From the Singletaries, the Buckuses, the Hams. We can go, you know what I mean? You go through Lawrence Taylors, like, you go through it like linebackers. You don't really have that anymore. And from everything I see here, this is a pretty thin linebacker class. There's a few guys at the top here. Jalen Walker's the favorite at minus 300. Jahad Campbell is a player that people really like at plus 225. I know the kid from Cal is impressing people right now, but you got Barrett Carter at 100. That's all you need to know. I mean, Jalen Walker's minus 300. Then you got Campbell plus 225, and then the next guy, Barrett Carter's 125 to 1. That's all you need to know about the thinness of the linebacker spot coming into this draft, Rick.
Yeah, and what you say is valid because back in the day, like, defenses built their stoutness up the middle. You got to have strong defensive tackles, strong middle linebackers, strong safety.
Shane Conlon, Buffalo Bills, Chris Spielman, you know what I mean? Linebackers, Urlacher.
Pittsburgh Steelers all day long, right? Baltimore Ravens, smash mouth football. But I'll tell you what, like I look at
Ray
the
Lewis.
best,
Exactly. Go on and on. You know?
Yeah, the best off-ball linebackers in this year's class, you can state a case. Like Jalen Walker out of Georgia, some people like him as a pass rusher. And like Jahad Campbell out of Alabama, who I think has a very good chance to go before Jalen Walker off of his combine. And this guy ran at 230 pounds. He ran a 4.48 40, hit 23 miles per hour. You know, like he runs faster than 90% of the running backs in the league. So it wouldn't surprise me if Jahad Campbell was the first linebacker off the board. But I go back and I watched Jahad Campbell at Alabama when the Crimson Tide used him in pass rushing situations. That seems to be where he's at his best. Like I went back and watched the film. I now believe Jahad Campbell's best position in the pros is at edge rusher. And that's the same situation as Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was like an all-ball linebacker. Yeah. Situational edge rusher, just like Jalen Walker. And I think Jahad Campbell was a situational pass rusher. Like the snaps that he took getting after the quarterback is more impressive than anything else he did. So it's between Walker and Campbell. I think Campbell has – I mean, I have Walker graded higher than Campbell, but there's a lot
up against it, Rick.
A lot of love for Campbell.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whoever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Quickest 120 minutes of sports talk and television continues. Shows just flying by. They will all week. We're going to be on actually at a special time Thursday and Friday. Normally we're on at 9 o'clock, 7. I'm all confused with the time zones. Normally we're on from 7 till 9 Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. But yeah, we're going to be on until 1 o'clock. So we'll be on for 3 hours during the late session of the NCAA games, Thursday and Friday, including UC San Diego and the Michigan Wolverines. 3-2 right now in Vancouver. 6.5 minutes left in the second period of play. And I was just looking online right now, and I got a tweet here somebody sent me, and I gotta think this is kind of a cupcake kind of tweet actually for a Boston Bruin fan. But Cam, a Boston Bruin fan just told me to go F myself. Essentially, where is it here?
I get that a lot.
Oh, here it is. Somebody said, yeah, Kyle said, tune into SportsGrid. All I hear is Bruins hate. Immediately change the channel. Bruins hate? We were complaining that they're on TV too much. That's not what Bruins hate.
Yeah, come on.
It's kind of thin-skinned of you there, Kyle, I got to say. Like, 'cause I'm sure like Boston Bruin fans say really nice things about the Montreal Canadiens.
Good point.
Like me, like all I said is, you know what I mean? There's too many blackouts, and for whatever reason, every Boston Bruin game is on TV. But the Vancouver Canucks have just scored. It's 4-2. They just added one right now. North Carolina just keep adding it to right now, 87-52 with 3.5 minutes left. They're like 35.5 right
Is this the biggest margin of victory in playoff in like history?
Play-in history?
It's got to be close.
It's good question. Well,
yeah.
Mo's a statistician. Maybe Mo knows. Mo Khan.
What's the deal here? Like, that's a lot of points.
I can't recall any blowouts like this. No, in this game.
87-52. 35.
But we have brought it up a lot that since 2011, Mo, when they've started to do this, the first four, 13 teams have won multiple games coming from the first four. 2 teams have made it to the Final Four. Numerous teams have made it to the Sweet 16 after. Hell, Fairleigh Dickinson won a couple of games even. But UCLA made the run to the Final Four. VCU made the run to the Final Four. And there was a debate, which team is it going to be? North Carolina, San Diego State, Xavier, or Texas. Nobody thought North Carolina belonged to be here, Mo, but you know they showed up tonight with a chip on their shoulder against the Aztecs.
Yeah, UNC's underachieved all season long, guys. Remember, they were a top 10 ranked team. I think number 8 coming into the preseason polls, and they just kind of had a whole soiling of their bed in the first 10 games where they didn't play well. Right, lost to Kentucky, lost to some bigger name programs out there. But the thing was, going to the final month of games, even though they were playing, I guess, quad 3, quad 4 teams, they start to build momentum and confidence that they can win these type of games. And they were a foot away from perhaps being Duke in the semifinals in the ACC. And you're absolutely right about the history of the teams in the play-in rounds. You kind of get the jitters out in that bracket, and then when you go to your actual games on Thursday or Friday, you're a lot more relaxed, more focused, going into the rhythm of things here. So I think for UNC, we get Ole Miss. You look at the path. You get Ole Miss. You beat them. You might play the 3 seed or Lipscomb. I forget who the 3 seed is. I think it's Tennessee, where it might be at that on that side of the bracket. So UNC could be a Sweet 16 team with the momentum that they're going to generate from this game, and then perhaps beat Ole Miss on Thursday or Friday, whenever they play their game, that they'll have an opening day.
Yeah, Thursday, and they would get Ole Miss, and if they won, they would get Iowa State.
Iowa State, Iowa State, that's right.
They could beat Iowa State too, Gabe. Like they might go on a
They are beatable, and Iowa State aren't healthy right now either. They're another team with injury concerns coming into the tournament. Big injury concerns. Man, they're up to 90. The big thing is, guys, North Carolina are like 13-20 from 3 tonight. Right, the shots are just falling here, and they're bombing threes late. So the game has gone over, guys. They're at 147, now 149, 92-57. All right, Mo, what do you think of tomorrow's games? We'll start off with Xavier and Texas. Texas, not quite North Carolina, but a little bit similar. And but Texas played a harder schedule, so you can look at their wins and losses. But they went through the gauntlet of the SEC. And Trey Johnson's one of the best players in the country. He can take over a game. It's going to be a fun game tomorrow night against Xavier. We'll get Mo's take on the other side as we're coming up against it right now. So Vancouver are up on the Winnipeg Jets. We got a good one going on at the Intuit Dome. 67-61 right now for the Cavaliers. Under 3 minutes left in the first half. We bet the over this game. In-game total right now, guys, 259.5.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do this thing. We got our boy Mo Khan in the house. We're watching North Carolina dismantle SDSU right now, 92-65. The game's coming to an end. And North Carolina are keeping it classy till the end. They just hit a 3 with 12 seconds left.
That's the afternoon of the committee. Screw you guys. Yes.
Yeah, like that's the thing.
Screw you, bumpkin.
That's why I said earlier, San Diego State, you guys were screwed. Like, you were in a bad, spot here, with these guys coming in here angry. Just it's 12 seconds left. I always complain they don't play to the whistle, but a kid on North Carolina just bombed a 3 and hit it. And San Diego State just hit a 3 at the buzzer. 95-68 track meet. 95-68 final score. North Carolina advance will now get Mississippi. We'll get you the point spread momentarily. So, Mo, what's your pick tomorrow? Let's get after it now. What's your pick tomorrow? Xavier and Texas.
I'm not liking Texas at all, guys. I really, I've seen a couple of Longhorn games this year in that SEC action. They don't cut it for me. I really don't think they cut it for me. And I think they've had these underachieving moments this year where you say to yourself, how the bleep did they lose this game? Or how do they win this game out of nowhere? But I think Xavier, they played tougher basketball in the last 3-4 weeks of conference play. Give me Xavier to win this game. I think they're going to get into the tournament itself.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to go with Texas in this spot tomorrow. And I'm just looking at the player props right now, guys. This is going to be one of the best and funnest sort of two players on the court really going after it, taking it to the rack and scoring points, and Ryan Conwell and Trey Johnson. People are talking about Trey Johnson. That's my thing with Texas, Mo. They have a ton of talent. You're right. They underachieved. They played in a ton of close games this year, but they played in a really tough conference. But look what they just did in the SEC conference tournament, right? They beat Vanderbilt. They beat Texas A&M. They hung with with Tennessee until the final couple of minutes. Foul trouble finally caught up to them. It was their third game in 3 days. I think Texas stepping up tomorrow, and I don't think much of the Big East actually. I sort of think of the Big East like the Mountain West of the East Coast. It's okay, but I think systematically they're going to get bounced. Oklahoma and UConn is an intriguing one to me. But just for the record, guys, Conwell, his prop is 18.5 tomorrow, and Trey Johnson is 19.5. That's a lot for a college player. It goes to show the respect that they have for the lottery pick in Trey Johnson. All right, so Mo says Xavier. I say Texas. Cam, what's your pick? Xavier or Texas?
I'm leaning Texas, too. I think they're just a team, and they can set the reset button. I think they're more talented. You know what it is, Mo, too? Like, I see St. John's as head and shoulders above everybody in the Big East. Like,
Right.
and they roll in their tournament, too. That's the thing. Like, there's some real dogs in the Big East, to Gabe's point. So Texas, they have a murderer's row they play. It'll be a grind. It's probably going to be a very close game. I expect it to be like a fight, but I expect Texas to pull it out, and I'll take the 3, and I'll lay the money line with the Texas Longhorns. Probably win by like 4 or 5. Should be a tight game.
And speaking of tight games, man, what an epic finish, Mo, tonight with St. Francis and Alabama State. Leitner and Hill all over again. Hail Mary, Doug Flutie. Like, it was all the pass, Mo, the way that he looped it so high over everybody, right? Because they were kind of positioned properly. You can't really say, like they weren't ready for it. They were, right? There were a bunch of red jerseys in the paint, and they all went DB style. They all went up for it. But the ball went over everybody and, of course, bounced right to the dude under the basket. It was just like one of those miracle type of plays. I expected it to be a close game. It was. Now, tomorrow we have another short point spread here. American University, you're laying 2.5 against Mount St. Mary's tomorrow. Total 129. American coming off their win. They beat Navy, actually. And it was a pretty impressive win to beat Navy, the way that they did. But a shocker that American are in the tournament here right now against Mount St. Mary's. What's your pick here, Mo?
Taking Mount St. Mary's. American, I saw a snippet of what they did during conference play in the tournament run that they had. I mean, look, I think their size is going to be one of the biggest question marks going into this game tomorrow. Can they rebound well enough in this matchup? If they can't rebound in those 50-50s, I think Mount St. Mary's is going to win this basketball game, beg your pardon. And the reality is, what it'll come down to is how they officiate the game. Remember, in this game tonight with St. Francis, Alabama did not have a free throw until 5 minutes left in the second half of that ball game. So I'm curious to see how that officiating is going to be tomorrow. If there'll be more tight calls called for both teams than how it was slanted in the first game that we saw tonight, that it was no free throws until late in the game.
Good call. We'll get to the refereeing, especially when it comes to the SEC in the tournament in a couple of minutes. But Alabama State wasn't really taking it to the rack. And another thing is, too, Mo, they were letting it go, bro. Like, those kids were, colliding. Like, it was so choppy. It was like a street game. There were just collisions. I mean, it was pretty crazy, the collision that gave, he missed, Matlock missed the free throw late. But that was they were lucky to get that foul that they just sort of collided at half court and it gave them the foul. But it was deserving. I will say, listen, it's been a hell of a year for American. I think Mount St. Mary's, like you said, Mo, they played against better teams this year, right? Although they are totally evenly matched. Let's call it out for what it is. I think the total is going to get there. I think it's a little too light at $1.29. Cam, what's your pick? Mount St. Mary's or American?
I'm glad I'm not tied up in a basement. They said you got to pick a winner here to spare your life, because this game can go either way. This is very, very difficult. I agree with you, Gabe. I see more points. That total looks very light. I lean American. I don't know what to do with this game, to be honest with you. I like the Texas game a hell of a lot better. I'd be lying if I said this game was like a lock or I had a real strong opinion of it. I don't. That's straight up true.
Alabama State won tonight, guys, and their reward. Oh, it's not the most glamorous game. Cam, yeah. I'm not going to hate. I don't blame you. Alabama State and Auburn. Auburn are 32-point favorites, just for the record. Wow. So that's the opening number. Auburn minus 32 against Alabama State. And all right, what about the game we just watched here? North Carolina. We get a North Carolina number up with Mississippi. I'll get it in a second here as they post it. All right, Mo. So what do you think? Let me go through some of the props here, actually.
Yeah.
And this was shocking, Mo. I posted this on X the other day, that only one time in the history of the NCAA tournament of all 4 1 seeds made it to the Final Four. And it was in 2008. It's pretty crazy because a 1 seed generally always wins the damn tournament. 13 of the last 17 tournaments have been won by a 1 seed. But there's always a 1 seed or 2 that gets knocked off along the way. How many 1 seeds between Florida, Auburn, Duke, and Houston, out of those 4 teams, how many of them do you think make it to the Final Four?
I got Florida going in. I think Auburn gets knocked. I think Duke gets knocked. And I think Houston has a really good chance to get into the Final Four as well.
Ooh, Duke gets knocked.
I'm thinking very similar to you. I've got Alabama knocking Duke off, actually, but
I agree.
I'm not feeling great about it. But I was just sort of thinking outside the box, Mo. But they are on a collision course.
They are, and Nate Oates is a really good coach. Remember, he's done well against ACC competition. Remember last year against UNC, where he took these guys out at the knees. I just think that Duke has been they have not been challenged in the ACC. They kind of wheezed through the tournament, right? They had a couple of hiccups here and there, but I don't know if Duke they're loaded with talent, there's no question. But at that point, you rely on more veteran teams. And you look at their side of the bracket, if they get Mississippi State next round, they'll probably beat Mississippi State, but that will be a draining game because of how State leans on teams with their size and, again, the rebounding. So I think right now for Duke, their path to the regional final will be a lot tougher than the other 1 seeds in this tournament this year.
I agree with you. I said the same thing last night. Like Mississippi State or Baylor, okay, I think Mississippi State gets past Baylor. Let's say they get past that game. Then they're on a collision course with Arizona, right? Or potentially the Ducks, but I think Arizona. And then after that, they would have to play Alabama still. Like they did not get an easy path here. No. And even though Auburn's path is technically the easiest one, and me and Camp talked about it, these conference tournaments are useless. I mean, Auburn lost 3 of their last 4 games in a year. Excuse me. They still get the overall 1 seed. But even though they have a favorable path, I'm with you. I still think Auburn will get knocked off along the way here. I think they're the most vulnerable ones. But Duke, also with Duke, they're really good. Good point. They wonder about the ACC. I mean, they did murder teams this year, but Duke players get hurt every game. I wonder, if they're going to be able to get through 6 games.
Brady Tkachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Tkachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Tkachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. It's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the 2 best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM, Channel 159. We're breaking down the NCAA tournament, looking at some of these numbers here. Talking about the 1 seed. So, Mo, you're going to say 2. Cam, how many out of the 4 do you say get to the Final Four?
3.
3 pays pretty well still, actually. Three pays pretty well. So the number here, these are the numbers. Number one seeds to make the this is the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, the Final Four. Here we go. Number one seeds to make the Final Four. All right, under, none of them. If you say none of them, plus 900, you're not getting enough value back for that. Like one of them is going to make it. Over 1.5. So if you think two of them are going to make it, it's minus 250. If you think three of them are going to make it, over 2.5, it's plus 225. And all four number one seeds to make the Final Four is 17-1. Mo, let's get into some of the games on Thursday right now and see if we agree or disagree. I haven't pulled the trigger on the games yet. I'm taking it day by day, but there's a bunch of the dogs that I like. I'm just sort of watching the line moves right now here for these games. But we get started on Thursday morning. Creighton and Louisville are the first ones up, and you want to talk about an evenly matched game here, bro.
Oh yeah.
You listen. You could argue that Louisville were underseeded, but the fact is, like, the committee didn't have a lot of respect for the ACC, but they had enough respect for the ACC to put North Carolina in, so it gets sort of double-edged there. But like Louisville, like the Louisville coach said, I think we should have been a 5 seed or a 6 seed at the worst. You notice Michigan didn't say anything, and I sort of noticed my experience. Whenever a team starts bitching about a bowl game they're playing in or like the seed that they got, they end up losing anyways. Like, they're not focused just on like, all right, listen, we got to man up and play who we're going to play. So Louisville complaining about this a little bit, I think, threw me off a little bit here, Mo, but I don't really trust Creighton either. This is a tough game, this one.
It's also a de facto home game for Louisville, too, right? When you think about where they're playing this first round games this weekend.
Yeah, that was the bonus for them. They got Lexington out of it. You're right.
That's right. And I just think that Louisville, with their new staff that they brought in this past season, has reformed that look, right? They're playing more edgier basketball. They're able to dribble, drive, and get the quality shots in the open space that they didn't have in years past. But I think Creighton, look, they're a well-coached team. We know how they play, guys, right? They like to play that half-court style of offense here and find that quality shot that they want to find at the end of the shot clock here. I think it might be on the under for the total points, but giving Louisville the win because this is a de facto home game that they'll have in the first 2 rounds if they get past the opening game on Thursday.
Total is 145.5. Yeah, it's hard to run to the window to bet the over. This could be a real slugfest, like we saw with Louisville and Clemson. High Point and Purdue. High Point, the Panthers are starting to become a trendy pick, Mo. I'm on the bandwagon, I'll admit it. They score 82 points a game. They bomb a bunch of threes. They play at a high tempo. Purdue have a history of stumbling early in the NCAA tournament. Purdue are clearly better than they are, and this is a big step up in class for High Point. But if High Point shots are falling and Purdue have to play at a tempo they don't really want to, and their shots are going cold, this could be a challenge for them. I do like High Point plus the 8 points. They're trendy, Mo. What's your pick, Purdue, High Point?
I absolutely agree with you on that front because if this becomes a track meet, Purdue's not built for that, guys. They're built for half-court offense. Slow it down, grind it out, feed it in, whoever the big man might be at that point for them. But if they allow High Point to get those quality shots of threes on the transition plays, it could really be them on their heels and High Point on their toes attacking them whenever they want. But I agree with you, Gabe, through and through with what that point spread is with High Point coming in.
I was thinking about Montana plus 17, that it feels a little high, and it still does. But when Montana stepped up in class this year, they did get murdered. Like, when they played good teams, they did lose by 20 and 25 and 22. The tournament's a little bit different, but, I got a little bit standoffish. SIU Edwardsville, this is going to be like a SIU Law and Order crime unit show. Like, there's just going to be a bloody scene at the end.
SIU criminal intent.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Cam. SIU Edwardsville. There's going to be a murder that went on, and the Houston Cougars are the killers.
You're right. There's a cougar there just sitting there. Yeah, they might win.
Edwardsville are in a lot of trouble. And last year, for the record, Houston won their opening game by like 42. They don't let up. Like, they're going to murder these guys.
Law and Order SIU. Yeah, Cougars by like 45.
That's a crime scene awaiting. For the record, I got Houston going to the Final Four. So I think Houston are going to get through this. And I got them in the championship game, actually, as well. I got a Houston, Florida right now. I got a Houston, Florida final in a bracket, and I don't have a million brackets, but Alabama State and Auburn, we talked about at 32. All right, Mo, McNeese State is another trendy team against Clemson. They're getting 7.5, like high point. What do you think of McNeese State? They made a tournament last year, got blown out. People think their experience is going to help them this year. Are you buying or selling McNeese against Clemson?
I'm buying McNeese because you got my long-lost cousin, Amir Khan, right? The student equipment guy who's the beatbox guy when they come out of the tunnel and stuff, right? With what he's done so far, he's become like a cult figure down in McNeese State. Look, I think Clemson, same thing in the ACC, right? The conference as a whole was pitiful this year, right? And going into the ACC tournament, people were questioning, is Clemson really a legit tournament threat to do anything at all? I think McNeese gives them some serious problems. I think this might come down to the last 5 minutes of who wins that basketball game. And the question for Clemson going into that situation is, are they built to win those type of tight games, given that McNeese State has nothing to lose at that point of where we're at right now in this tournament?
BYU and VCU. A couple of guests that we've had on have picked VCU in this game. Mo, what do you think about VCU and BYU? VCU barely got by George Washington, it should be noted, in that championship game. But what do you think about this matchup of the U's?
BYU's got a lot of momentum, guys, right? From the NIL, for what they're doing now, building up the program after Mark Pope left. But give me VCU to pull off the win over BYU.
Mo says the VCU Rams get it done against the Cougars.
That's a tough game.
I'm going with BYU. I think BYU's size is going to be a difference in this game. Great game, fun game. All right, more on the other side.
Brady Kachuk saying that if his brother did miss that overtime period against Canada like we saw him do, it must be serious out there. And of course, Brady Kachuk, not a doctor, but you've got to wonder the status of Matthew Kachuk and what we're going to find out.
Game time for all of these teams and all these players that were, teammates. Now they're facing off against each other. Now they're back to being teammates, whatever it might be. Like, it's time to get things rolling back in the right direction.
HL today, only on SportsGrid.
We know the Knicks are talented. They're 37-20. It's not a bad season by any stretch. They're just not being the upper echelon team.
This is the Knicks team right now. They're a very good team. And I'm a Knicks fan. You can't look at there and say, this team can win a championship. They're not good enough. They're not good enough defensively. Are we the New York Knicks or are we the New York Fugazis? Just forget about it.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You have Duke the 1, Houston the 2. They're the two best defensive teams in the country. I want to see them play for the right to go to the Final Four because I think that would be a kick-ass game.
Duke is really great on both ends of the floor. They can score and they can defend, and that's why they win by big numbers all the time, because they're really good on both ends of the floor. I don't trust Houston's offense.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid. The Eagles got it done. If you back them, you're celebrating. Football season may be over, but the action never stops.
Are you ready for some baseball?
At SportsGrid, we're always in the game. We bring you 24/7 betting insights, expert picks, and real-time analysis. Next big play is already in motion. Are you ready? It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, we're fired up. A couple of more games tomorrow, and then there's no turning back Thursday and Friday. We've just got a plethora of games. We're going to be on from 10 o'clock Eastern until 1 o'clock Eastern. So 7 to 10 Pacific on Thursday and Friday for the late sessions, including, and I want to get to a best of X. We'll get to this in a second, Mo. We can't get to every game, but UC San Diego, the Tritons are a trendy team. They got a 15-game win streak. They're the number one team against the spread as well. So bettors, they're a hipster team with people that bet college basketball because they're the number one team in the country when it comes to betting. But now they basically got to win the game. Like, they're so trendy. They got to win the game. You're not even really getting points. Michigan are 2.5-point favorites in this game. I don't think they did any favors to Michigan, Mo. I don't know how the hell Wisconsin is a 3 seed and Michigan's a 5 seed. But whatever, it is what it is. Can't complain about it. And Michigan's playing in the West Coast, late-night game against a team from the West Coast, in altitude and all this. But I think Michigan are going to beat them. No, dude, UC San Diego don't have anyone bigger than 6'7" on their team. Michigan 7-footer is going to be too much for them. I think Michigan get it done. But what do you think, Mo? UC San Diego, or are you on the bandwagon?
Gabe, I got Michigan going to the Final Four.
Oh, I like it.
That answers the whole your question. So I got them going, man, because you made a point earlier today about they're either going to bust or go to Final Four, right? But you watched that Wisconsin game on Sunday. They showed a lot of character, right? And you look at the roster, right? They have Final Four experience with certain players coming in from Florida Atlantic, big part of Florida,
and their coach has Final Four experience.
No question, right? And I just think that Michigan has been kind of trending upwards. People were talking about Michigan State in the Big Ten and how they're the sweetheart pick to go with. But Michigan's been under the radar the entire year, and now they've built up towards this crescendo here. And I think they can run it right now. And that's why that side of the bracket, I believe they're going to get out of that bracket and be in the Final Four and face Florida on April 5th.
So do I, actually, Mo, in my bracket as well. And I didn't at first. Then I started to think, I'm like, Auburn are vulnerable. I think Michigan are going to beat UC San Diego. I got Yale in an upset beating Texas A&M. And then we'll have Michigan and Wolf versus Yale. That'll be a nice story. I think Michigan beats Yale, and then they got a collision course with Auburn after that. And we all think Auburn are vulnerable. All right, so this is the best of X. This is for you, Kim, and the Seattle Seahawks fans out there. Yep. They made it official. Cooper Kupp is officially a Seattle Seahawk, and I like his attire at the press conference today. Let's roll it. Cooper Kupp looks like he's going to Lollapalooza.
Yeah, exactly. Any better?
He's getting ready to go out. He's going to the Vans Warped Tour.
Exactly.
He went Canucks logo.
He went all out Seattle here, though. I love it. He's got the plaid on. He's got a Pearl Jam tour shirt like from years ago. He's got the hat on backwards. He's rocking. And he goes from L.A., Mo, right into Seattle, the polar opposite. He's dropped the L.A. look. Now he's back. He's back in Seattle. But for the record, because a lot of people are like, why is he in Seattle? Why would he do all this? He is from there, right? He's from outside of Seattle area. He's like a local. Played at Eastern Washington. He's a local high school legend. He grew up playing like an hour and a half from the stadium, high school and stuff. And the Venezuelan vixen, actually, the UFC fighter, she's from Spokane, and she's good friends with Cooper Kupp. Actually, they all stick together and stuff. Like Kupp's a big used to call her before big fights and stuff, and she going to the Super Bowl and all that. So I know he's stoked to go back home. And he's stoked to be rocking the Pearl Jam gear. So, Mo, you said Michigan versus Florida in the Final Four. That's what I have right now as well. And on the other side, little bit tricky. We talk about Duke or not, whether they're going to make it. In a bracket I filled out, I got a little bit bold, and I said Alabama knocks them off. But I got Houston going to the final, and I got my Michigan Wolverines, unfortunately, losing to Florida in the Final Four. And then a Florida-Houston national championship game, Mo. Who do you have? Who wins the national championship, in your opinion?
Same Final Four. I got Florida beating Houston in the big one on the Monday nights.
I got Houston beating Florida. And
Florida beating Duke.
Florida beating Duke. All right. Listen, everybody, Florida beats Duke. That'd be a hell of a game, too. A lot of people love Florida. I just don't like the history, guys. The last 32 years, only 2 times as a coach, not won a championship in his first run like this. Like Golden has no NCAA tournament experience, and the history's not on his side. Other than that, you're on your own later.